In the heart of Irish mythology, there's this figure of incredible, kind of terrifying complexity, the Morrigan. Her power is just so immense because it's built on this fascinating duality. So is she some horrifying ghost haunting the battlefield, or is she a sovereign queen who literally creates kings? Well, as we're about to find out, she's both.
So here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll dig into the mystery hidden in her name. Then, we'll explore her two main identities, the Phantom Queen and the Great Queen. After that, we'll see how she can show up as three different sisters. And finally, we'll tie it all together to see her as this one, all-encompassing force.
Alright, to really get a handle on the Morrigan, you gotta start with the language. There's this whole scholarly debate about what her name actually means, and honestly, that debate is the key to her entire identity.
So who is she? The crazy thing is, the answer completely changes depending on which translation of her name you go with. And this split reveals two very different but deeply connected identities living inside this one figure.
Okay, this is where it gets really juicy. A tiny little shift in language from Old Irish to Middle Irish just blows our understanding of her wide open. In Old Irish, Morrígan means Phantom Queen. We're talking pure psychological terror. But that same name in Middle Irish translates to Great Queen, a figure of total sovereign authority. Now, this isn't just some dusty old language lesson. This is the absolute core of her power.
Let's start with her as the Phantom. Now, this has nothing to do with physical fighting. This is all psychological warfare, the kind that starts in your head long before any sword gets drawn. It's that chilling power that just gets under your skin, unnerves your soul, and weakens a warrior from the inside out.
I mean, this quote just says it all, doesn't it? Imagine a proud young warrior. He runs into this old crone by a river. He asks her if she's the Nightmare Queen, and she says she's the mare, the spirit that literally haunts your subconscious in the dead of night. She is that raw, primal fear that can turn a hero's courage into, milk. So you see, her phantom power isn't about swords and shields. It's about getting inside your head and destabilizing you. She influences your mind, haunts your dreams, and crushes your spirit before you even get to the battlefield. It's a chillingly effective way to fight a war.
Okay, let's pull a complete 180. We're moving out of the shadows of the mind and into the bright, high halls of power. Because as the Great Queen, the Morrigan isn't some ghost, she's a monarch, embodying the pure fire of sovereignty.
And get this, to a high king, she doesn't show up as a terrifying old woman. No way. He sees a regal, powerful figure, and her eyes just burn with political authority. She is the land. She is the ultimate decider of who gets to wear the crown.
As the Great Queen, her influence is all external. It's all political. She embodies the land itself. She grants the right to rule, and she makes the crown legitimate. She is the legal and spiritual foundation for a king's control. She is the source of all earthly power. And just when you think you've got her figured out, it gets even more complicated. This incredible duality of Phantom and Queen, it expands. The Morrigan isn't always a single person. She often appears as a collective, a trinity of three powerful sisters.
These three figures, they often act together in this haunting unison. Each sister embodies a very specific and usually terrifying piece of the Morrigan's power, bringing her influence right out of the spirit world and onto the physical battlefield.
So let's meet the sisters. First, there's Badab, which means frenzy. She shows up as a hooded crow, just screaming over the slaughter. Then you have Masha, who represents sovereignty, and she's the one who claims the heads of the dead as her prize. And finally, there's Nemain, or Venom, whose cry is so powerful it can make entire armies go completely insane.
So, what does this all mean? Is she a monster or a monarch? The Phantom or the Queen? Well, the answer is that the tension between all these identities isn't a contradiction. It's actually the very source of her immense, all-encompassing power. So here's the crucial point. You simply cannot have the glory and stability of the Great Queen without also acknowledging the darkness and terror of the Phantom. They're two shadows cast by the very same person, and both are absolutely essential for her to rule. And this is exactly why she's such an inescapable force. The Phantom Queen breaks you down from the inside, while the Great Queen builds the kingdom up from the outside. She has total control over both the physical world of the land and the internal world of dreams.
By being both the monster in your nightmares and the mother of the land, she commands total respect. You can think of her as a weaver,
pulling together three strands of power: the psychological, the political, and the physical. She shapes history from the shadows and from the throne. And that really leaves us with a final question, doesn't it? The Morrigan shows us that maybe true sovereign power isn't just one thing. Maybe it has to be both the terrifying force that can break an individual's soul and the foundational authority that can build an entire nation. She is the shadow that guides the hand of the king and the terror that claims the soul of the soldier.